Imagine a day that's totally different from any other. The birds stop singing. There's no wind at all. You look up and you see something impossible. The sun, which is always there for us, has vanished. The light of our solar system, the thing that holds our world together, is simply gone. This isn't a made-up story. It's a thought experiment, a scary look at how much we depend on the star we often forget about. What would happen to our planet, to us, if the sun suddenly went out? At first, everyone would panic. People would run through the streets trying to understand what's happening. But the darkness wouldn't stop. The world would become like twilight, but much stranger. City lights would flicker and go out, leaving a really strange silence. Temperatures would start to drop, but the biggest change would be the darkness everywhere, all the time. No sunlight would affect not just the weather, but also how people feel and if they have any hope left. Our planet would be covered in a never-ending night. The streets that used to be so full of life would be empty and sad, like all the life had been sucked out of them. Fear would take over as we realize how vulnerable we are, how fragile our existence is. People would wonder how long they could live without sunlight. Photosynthesis would stop and plants would start to die, a quiet warning of the ecological disaster to come. Without sunlight, the basis of our food chain would be in danger. Within a week, the temperature drop would be impossible to miss. The cold would get into homes and hearts, bringing a chilling despair. The average temperature of the whole world would fall, sending a shiver across the planet. Cities, once warm and inviting, would become frozen landscapes. Coastal areas would change the most, with temperatures dropping below freezing as the ocean's ability to keep things warm faded away. Ice would form on beaches, a strange and scary sight. Animals would struggle to survive. Many wouldn't be able to find food or shelter, and their numbers would start to shrink quickly. There would be confusion everywhere as the natural order of things fell apart. People, disoriented, would try to find answers and solutions, but the darkness would seem impossible to escape. By the fourth week, the reality of our situation would sink in. Families would huddle together for warmth and comfort, but uncertainty about the future would weigh heavily on everyone. Electrical grids, which depend on solar power, would start to fail. Batteries would run out. Modern infrastructure, once so reliable, would become a distant memory. The world would plunge further into darkness. The few remaining lights would be like stars in a night sky, not enough to light the way forward. Food shortages would become a scary reality as supermarket shelves became empty. The fight for basic resources would intensify, and solidarity would give way to desperation. People would try desperately to use other energy sources, but the crisis would be too big to handle. Wind turbines and solar panels covered in snow would stand as symbols of our helplessness. The sun, the lifeblood of our planet, would be gone. Without it, Earth would be a cold and unfriendly place, and the hope of a new dawn would seem further and further away. The second month would arrive, covered in an unnatural and never-ending twilight. The average temperature of the whole world would have fallen well below freezing, turning the world white and gray. The familiar blue of the oceans would start to freeze over, ice spreading from the poles. The collapse of agriculture would speed up. Harvests would fail all over the world. Food shortages would turn into famine everywhere. With each passing day, the fight for survival would get harder. Social order would start to fall apart as competition for dwindling resources intensified. The very fabric of society built over thousands of years would start to unravel. As the third month arrived, the Earth's surface would be a hostile and unforgiving wasteland. Sandstorms would rage across what were once busy cities, turning everything into a sea of desolation. Temperatures would reach unimaginable extremes, with scorching heat during the day and bitter cold at night. The cracked Earth would show a planet that seemed to have lost its life force. Survival would now depend on finding shelter from the constant cold. People would bundle themselves in layers of heavy clothing, trying to protect themselves from the icy wind that felt like knives. Humanity would retreat underground, looking for safety in caves, mines, and specially built bunkers. These underground shelters would become the last place to survive. Life below the surface would be a pale copy of our former existence. The caves and bunkers, while safe, would be dark and suffocating, a far cry from the comforts of home. Resources would be scarce, and the air would be heavy with despair. Food would be carefully divided, and every drop of water would be precious. The struggle to survive would be constant. Yet, even facing unimaginable hardship, the human spirit would live on. People would come together, sharing what little they had, finding comfort in each other's presence. Scientists and engineers would work tirelessly, racing against time to find solutions, to adapt, to survive. They would explore new technologies and methods to make living underground more sustainable. The flame of hope, however weak, would flicker in the darkness. Every small victory, every breakthrough would be a step towards a future where humanity might thrive again. The fourth month, a silent ocean of ice. By the fourth month, the Earth would be almost unrecognizable. The oceans, once full of life, would now be a silent sea of ice, stretching as far as the eye could see. The planet's surface would be locked in a deep and never-ending freeze. The very air would be thin and freezing, making each breath a painful reminder of the life we lost. Deep in our underground shelters, we would rely on artificial light and warmth, clinging to what's left of our technology. Food would be carefully divided, every calorie precious. Families would huddle together for warmth, sharing stories of the past and dreams of a future that seemed impossible. The fifth month, the ultimate fight for survival. The relentless winter would continue to tighten its grip on the planet. By the fifth month, the Earth's surface would have become like an alien planet. What was once familiar would now seem like a distant and hostile world. Temperatures would have plummeted to almost absolute zero, a cold so profound it's hard to imagine. Every breath would be a struggle against freezing. The air would be thin and still, with no life in it. The atmosphere, once full of movement and sound, would now be a silent void. The once vibrant planet would now be a frozen desert. Landscapes that once flourished with life would be covered in an impenetrable sheet of ice. The struggle for survival would reach a critical point. Every day would be a battle against the unforgiving elements and dwindling resources. Resources would be disappearing at an alarming rate. Food, water, and fuel would be rare treasures, fiercely fought over. The air filtration systems in our underground shelters would struggle to keep up with the increasing demand. Maintaining these systems would be vital to our survival. Hope, once a beacon in the darkness, would flicker precariously. Every failure in the life support systems would be a reminder of how fragile we are. The human race, once a species that spanned the globe, would now be confined to isolated pockets of survivors fighting for every breath. Unity and cooperation would be our only chances of overcoming this ordeal. Life beyond the freeze. Could we adapt? The question comes up. Could we adapt to a world without the sun? Could we find a way to survive in this new frozen reality? The answer, while bleak, is not entirely without hope. Geothermal energy, taken from the Earth's internal heat, could give us a sustainable source of power. Hydroponic farming, using artificial light, could offer a way to grow food without sunlight. But these solutions would require a huge effort, a global collaboration unlike anything humanity has ever seen. The technological challenges are huge, and time would be running out. The importance of our star. A lesson in gratitude. This what-if scenario of an Earth without the sun reminds us how much we depend on our celestial benefactor. The sun is not just a bright object in our sky, it is the very lifeblood of our planet, the source of our energy, the engine that drives our weather and keeps all life going as we know it. When we think about a world without the sun, we start to truly appreciate its importance. We are reminded that our existence on this planet is both precious and fragile. Conclusion: a fragile existence. The sudden disappearance of the sun, though very unlikely, is a thought experiment that makes us think about our own mortality, the delicate balance that allows life to thrive on Earth. It shows us how important it is to be good stewards of our planet, to cherish and protect it, because it's the only home we know. This journey to a world without the sun is a stark reminder, a cosmic wake-up call. It highlights how connected our solar system is and the delicate dance of life on our planet. It is a reminder to appreciate the warmth of the sun, to protect our planet, and to marvel at the intricate web of life it sustains. Did you enjoy thinking about this? Then don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so you can know when there are more curiosity videos like this one. Leave a like, and if you can, share it with your friends so they can understand how important our sun is. Until next time.